Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Hungry Bleak Show. This is the year in review. Oh, 2023. You raggedy. We're not gonna do that here. We don't use that kind of language here. We don't. But I'm only one person, and I mean there's 365 days in a year, as Anita Baker told us. So I need some help. I'm only one person. I've only got 10 hands. I've only got 10 hands. What the hell? I've only got 10 fingers. I just gave away my whole mutant power that I got 10 hands. I shouldn't have even told y'all that. Now I got to deal with Sentinels and Trask, and Mr. Sinister is going to try to do stuff on the island. We don't want that. But what we do want is some help here. So I brought in just two of the best people possible. They've been here before. Let's get them in. First off, this one's for a certain person that has science drinks. He is the cinema CEO. He is the cinema god. This is Michael Williams, y'all.
Hello, Governor.
Now you're giving a poppy response. You just killed the whole bit, damn it. And and next up is, as always, one of my favorite artists, one of the best people possible. Incredible creative person. Just art is diabolical and just dynamic. My hip hop guru and my food buddy, as always, folks. This is Takeia Marie.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I don't have an intro like Mike had. Sorry.
No. His is.
Mike really stole a show of that, but I don't have anything like that in the chamber. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I had to. I haven't been around for a while, so you know.
I mean, years I've been giving you that intro, Mike, and you just no sell it. You just like, yeah. Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Like, can you give me a little nibble of something, brother? Get something. So 2023 has been a roller coaster year. Actually, the last few years have been roller coaster years, so it should be no different. Yes. But we're kind of living in the golden age, quote unquote, heavy quote unquote, golden age of geek culture, whether it's movies or gaming or comics or wrestling, like whatever it is in that spectrum. I think we're living in a golden age. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, this year a lot is going on, but let's start with the thing that we were just kind of just talking about right now, movies and series. We had a lot going on with that stuff. As far as like, in theater, at home, streaming services galore. Some merging, some hopping on bandwagons and such like that. Kind of like shout out to Disney for putting Hulu on their app. I'm really enjoying that little service. If anybody wants to tell the mouse, if anybody works for the mouse and you want to tell them, I'm kind of digging that. I think it's a very smart thing. What have you, but. Michael, since you are the cinema CEO, you are the cinema god. What would you say was a movie that was probably the best movie that? Now, let me clarify. What was the best movie that you think there is, but also what was the most fun movie that you would say?
Oh, yeah, that's a hard one.
You want to think about it for a minute, and I'm gonna ask Takeia?
No, I got it.
You got it? All right.
Actually, me and Takeia were talking about this before the show started. The most fun movie to me was The Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's this whole counter narrative against it that it was a flop and all this other stuff. I'm not getting into that because I don't put stock into that nonsense. I mean, if you're gonna say that they're putting in the MCU that technically are flops against most of their bigger hits, right? So there's that. But as far as it just being a straight fun-filled action movie that does its little bit of world building and all of that, and also being one of the tightest Marvel movies I've ever seen, it really, really, really is a good movie. I wish more people would see it. I wish more people would stop buying into the narrative that it's not good, because it is. But it's really fun, and I think you'll be rewarded very much so at the end for that mid credits. But
Yeah.
the other movie that I'm going to talk about that I thought surprisingly was the best movie that I saw this year, and I had little no expectations for it because it's not a movie that is even geared towards me at all, was Barbie. And that's a movie I did not want to see. I did not want to see it. I was like, oh, this movie can't be good. I was like, this movie can't be good. Little did I know that it's not only spectacle, which you would expect for a movie like Barbie, but you stay for the subtext that's in this movie, busting at the seams of subtext about society and how women are treated and everything. Like, it's the surprise movie of the year for me.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. I still haven't seen Barbie, but I actually do want to see it because so many people have talked about it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's premiering this
it
weekend
rocked
on Max.
Oppenheimer, apparently. So
it is premiering this weekend on Max. It is
okay.
I'm not even gonna spoil it for you, Takeia, because you watch it, and I mean, in all fairness, you might not like it, and that's okay, but it's not what you think, right? Like the trailers make it seem like it's gonna be what you think it would be, but it's not. It's not in any way, shape, or form, and it's just crazy. It's crazy how much. It's crazy the misdirect that this movie becomes as you're watching. It's crazy.
My brother saw it, and he did the double feature. He did Oppenheimer and he did Barbie.
I did too.
And he was like, Barbie was so good. And I did not expect him to come back like, Barbie was that heat.
Yes. I mean, the only way and this isn't even a really good description or good comparison, but the only comp to Barbie that I can think of is Toy Story.
Oh,
but almost in reverse, right? Like, what if this isn't even a really good comparison. What if the toys in Toy Story became aware of themselves in the real world, right? Like, what if they somehow got out of Andy's room and actually lived the lives that they were living? That's the only way I can kind of describe Barbie to you without really messing it up for you. Like, it's almost like that.
No lie. Like, and I know women who have seen it, but I was surprised at the amount of guys who were like,
yeah.
You know, because it's definitely, I don't think it's marketed that way, but and I shouldn't say I was surprised. I'm happy to see that. I should say is more accurate because it shows that anybody can enjoy anything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
but I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to see that before I saw Oppenheimer, which I don't want to see at all. Because I just don't want to see another movie glorifying a white man doing mass extinction type stuff. But every person I saw, they were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, people were. It's at the point, when something's really big and it's good. When people start going, "Oh my god, can y'all stop talking about Barbie? Is it really that serious?" I mean, for them, they like, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know how many people." This is how I knew that you weren't, the movie isn't what you think. Like you were saying, when people were saying, "Oh my God, I didn't know so many people, all my friends, or so many people that I knew were into Barbie," and I'm like, maybe they're not into Barbie. Maybe they're into the story that's being told in Barbie,
Mhm.
and it's hitting and it's resonating on a level that we need in society. Maybe that's it. So that's when I was like, okay, so I'll go to see, because it's not my thing, and
Yeah.
I'm not like Ryan Gosling. I give or take, and Margot Robbie could give or take, but everyone's been saying how there's a layer and then another layer. So I'll watch it this weekend since it's premiering on Max. No, that was not product placement, folks. I had so many issues with every treatment service possible. There's no way that any one of them is paying me for anything. If anything, they'll probably pay me to not mention them on the show. Um, what about you, Takeia? What were like what was the most fun for you? And is a movie that you saw that you were like, yeah, that was really like, it was really just great.
um, they cloned Tyrone. I really liked that movie. That movie
Thank
really
you.
hit.
Thank you.
That was a great movie, and it
Okay.
was so nuanced. And first of all, everybody was great. And John Boyega is always great. Everybody was so great in it, and I like that we're starting to see more of those kinds of movies and Black people making more of those kinds of movies. Um, because there's a lot to say, and like there's a way to use those genres to talk about a lot of things. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I watched it with Robbie. It's funny. It has a message. It has all those layers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it won any awards or got nominated, but I'm pretty sure it should be.
I'm not sure because I don't really follow that stuff
Hmm.
like that. But that movie was not what I was thinking. I watched it with someone, and we were sitting there watching it, and it was probably maybe my that was damn. And for it to be on streaming, that shows that streaming continuously is leveling. Everybody thought that the top of the heap as far as streaming movies and when it's called was The Irishman.
Mm. I
Which
never watched that because I couldn't give up 4 hours of my life.
if you have time in 2024, like 6 months, then you'll be able to finish it. You'll be fine. Some people are still watching it. I'll be honest with you. The movie was long. It was unnecessarily long.
Yeah.
But what have you? What movie was really fun for you?
Oh, a really fun movie. Um, you know what? I went to see Elemental with my
Oh
brother
yeah.
and my niece,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. First of all, people don't know this about me, but I'm actually a pretty big fan of romance stuff.
Will they? Won't they?
Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
Even though I know they will, you will always get me with the will they. There's two types of stories you can tell that will always get me. It's will they, won't they, even though I know they will, and the robot uprising destroying humanity. For some reason,
Yes.
for some reason, those two things get me every time.
Yes.
And Elemental had a lot of things about it having to do with uh, um undertones of like issues with immigration, or two different groups of people clashing, and where do they find their place with each other, things like that. But there was also, I think the thing that I liked about the story a lot was one of the main characters is constantly crying, and he's a guy.
Okay.
So I think they wanted to kind of tackle that idea of masculinity right off the bat. And then there's also the whole thing of like the expectation uh of what your parents want you to do versus what you actually want to do. And or not even just your parents, but just like people in general. And as an artist who is going through that kind of thing. That kind of resonated with me. So I really liked how they tackled that in the movie. And just, it was like visually just a beautiful movie. So I know it's on Disney Plus now. So like if you haven't seen it, I would recommend checking it out. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, see, folks, somebody else mentioning a streaming service, and nobody's being paid for anything.
I mean, if they want to slide me a check, I'm not going to say no.
I wouldn't be mad, seeing as how they did what I told them to do during the pandemic. But that's beside the point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Elemental. I haven't seen. I haven't really gotten into any Disney animated movies since Soul.
Soul was really good too.
Soul hit me in such because it was just so good. Yeah, they Clone Tyrone was just everything. It was so well done and acted and paced beautifully, and yeah, it definitely was that movie. And I love how each of the characters, Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick, I think were their names, how each character was almost like a different viewpoint of how we would see it. One person might laugh and try to make jokes about it. Another person might see conspiracy everywhere, and another person is just trying to get to the facts and figure out how to do it. And I love how they each embodied a different thought process or a different viewpoint of it, especially for Black folks. Because some of us are conspiracy theorists. Some of us are just trying to figure out, okay, well, I've been through all these websites and read reports, so I want to figure out what's actually going on. And some of us are like, look, Black folk got to make jokes, because if we don't, we ain't never gonna get through the day. So I got to make a joke about everything. So I love that fact of it. It's definitely one that I want to rewatch, because it was there. I know there's so many million things that you might miss if you're watching it.
Yeah,
it's great. Me most fun, I want to say, it's a toss up for me. It's a toss up between Blue Beetle and Marvels. Blue Beetle, at the time when I saw Blue Beetle, there was a lot going on here in Jersey as far as being displaced. There was actually a huge building where the landlord was a slumlord, and the building was just and like, I think all of a sudden people came home and the entire building was condemned. It had been condemned for months, and the landlord never said anything about it. So all these people were pushed out, and they happened to mostly be Mexican families. So watching Blue Beetle, that hit me and resonated very much for me. Love the cast. It was about familia. And no, I'm not trying to be funny about Fast 10 or Vin Diesel, what have you. This was literally about family. And it was so culturally there, because they were like, just there with him. And they were like, they all knew his identity. And they're like, okay, well, we got to figure this out. How are we going to get this out of them? George Lopez stole the movie for me. I mean, as a George Lopez fan for years, stand-up comedy and everything, he stole the movie as Rudy. So fun, just amazing cast. Susan Sarandon kind of phoned it in, but I mean, she wasn't going to be in the sequel, so yeah, whatever. For real. That just was necessary. But I love the fact that even the head big bad, I'm trying to remember the character's name. Valtrax? No, that's no, that's a medicine. Kiltrax? I'm trying to remember his name. He was on Sons of Anarchy, so he's a favorite of mine as far as an actor, and I believe that he's of indigenous and Mexican descent, I want to say. But even that and his backstory, and figure out why he was the big bad and why he was there with this. And this is a character that, again, was that kind of B, C, D level even character, possibly. And this movie, if anything, I believe really raised up the bar for that character and their notoriety. It was so much fun. Loved it. Funny, goofy. This was a family, like you could take your family to go watch this, and it was fun, but it's still enough for adults. Special effects were beautiful. It was just a really amazing. Marvel's was so much and deserved so much better. In a year of flops, there's a lot of flops. lot of movies flopped. Let's stop going and saying who saw Napoleon.
Oh, shots fired.
No? Okay, cool. Did anybody even know that came out? People were saying movies had come out, and I was like, I ain't even heard of that person. I ain't even hear that movie. So there were a lot of movies that came out that were flops, but we wanted to focus in on MCU because MCU is the thing that's hot now. You know, every generations or what have you, there are different hot genres. At one time, it was westerns. At one time, it was like mobster gangster movies. At one time, it was uh undercover cop movies. Like every generation has movies. It just so happens that at this point, it's superhero movies, and MCU is the top dog in that fight. That's not me being biased. I'm not, because I could set them both on fire and be fine, because I'm indie through and through. But that's the top dog that's there. It is.
And it
So
should be fine, right?
I
It
mean,
should be like you said, like everything
correct.
goes through
Yeah,
those trends, and
but
you have filmmakers who are like, but it's not real cinema. Like,
but it but it
uh,
that's the thing. Like at certain, like if you watch some of the old westerns, you'll go, "You got to be kidding me, man." But there are
mhm,
movies where you like Shane. That final scene has always been debated. Is he alive? Is he dead? You know what I mean? So everyone has that. But when you have that old mindset, you don't know how to evolve.
mhm.
Not again, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't have a dog in the fight. Martin Scorsese is iconic. The dude made great movies, but he's only made one kind of goddamn movie. Let's be real. He's only made really one kind of movie. He does it well. If you are looking for somebody to make that kind of movie, he does that. That's like saying Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler does what he does with his movies is really good. He knows how to make those movies. I wouldn't give him like, as far as directing, because I know his dramatic acting is incredible, impeccable.
Mhm.
Comedic actors are always really good at dramatics, so people don't really realize that for some reason. Robin
Yeah.
Williams, but
Mhm.
yeah, so people want to come at the Marvels. I don't think it was all because of racism and misogyny, which it was, yes. But I think also people are just, there is that fatigue. It is real. Stop saying it's not real. It is a real thing. But this movie was fun. I went into it with no expectations and came out just fun. I go into movies without expectations. It was fun. I loved seeing three female leads in a big box office MCU movie, one black, one brown, one white, being together. It was such a good movie, and it was so much fun. And seeing them, it looked like they were legitimately having fun on set. It looked like
Yeah.
they legitimately enjoyed each other. And even when they were trying to figure out their powers and how to team up, I loved it. The little kind of almost Bollywood-esque planet, I thought was such a great break from the. I was like, because sometimes Marvel movies have a formula, and that's
Mhm.
why I fall asleep I always fall asleep about an hour and 40 minutes into a Marvel movie the last couple years, because there's always that formula, and there's a part where it drags.
Mhm.
Let's call a fish. It's a flounder, and it drags. This one, when I felt that, and it come, I was like, oh, and I felt that scene come up, and I was like, oh snap, yeah, this is okay. And they had this thing instead of, they had this thing instead of talking. I loved it. I loved the chemistry. I love and had the best after credit or mid credit scene of any MCU movie. The biggest. I'm not gonna say anything. Well, none. Screw it. Yeah, we got the introduction of Hank McCoy, Dr. Hank McCoy, excuse me, aka Beast. So in this planet, on in this universe, the X-Men exist. That's very important. That's one of the biggest MCU things, because everybody's been salivating at that. We got that. It was just fun. I loved it. And it was not long as hell. Like Mike said, it was tight.
Mhm.
And also, and I'm not going to say, oh, congratulations to her. I'm going to say congratulations to Marvel to getting their first black female director.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say
Yeah.
congratulations to her, because she's done the work. She's proven herself. It's time for these companies to start proving themselves by getting these directors and these writers. And it was,
And
to me,
Nia DaCosta she's an actual nerd too. Like,
yes,
Like she's actually into video games and all the nerdy stuff that we talk about. Like I saw an interview where she was talking about some of her inspiration behind some of the scenes. She was talking about Final Fantasy and all. I was like, what?
And it's funny, the thing that fans have been wanting for because we had a lot of directors that didn't, no, I'm not in the comic books, I'm not whatever, and they would be mad. And then we got somebody who's into the stuff and who uses it and influenced the movie, and they're like, they're still mad. So again, I'm not going to get into the topic, but you know who you are because you don't wash. You know who you are. Draws dirty right now. You know who you are. Talking about this mess. You know. Ain't seen a washcloth since it's seen you. You know. Washcloth dry as bones right now in the sink because you ain't been washing. You know. But I ain't got nothing else to say about that because I don't want to insult nobody. I'm just saying.
But can we talk about Aman Vellani for a minute?
Oh, yes, we can. Yes, that was going to be.
He ran away with that movie. Oh my gosh. I don't know how you watch that and not come back like she is something. She is something else.
Aman Vellani is us. If you really want to be honest, like she is the nerd who somehow got into the MCU. She literally represents all of us. When you hear her talk about things, she talks from the perspective of me or Antonio or you, Takeia. Like, she is not afraid to share her opinion, what she thinks works, what doesn't work, what should happen, what doesn't happen.
Right.
She's having the best year to me.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's amazing. And like even just like acting wise, she brings so much personality to that role. And you feel like when you watch her, you feel like she's someone who's just trying to figure it out. Like she's just like a teenager who's trying to figure out life and having these powers and how to like where she fits in the world and still honoring her culture while still, trying to move through life as a superhero. Like it's just she brings so much to it, and it's she's just fun to watch. And all of them were great, but I just wanted to point her out just because she's kind of fresh, she's like new, she's new in the game, I guess, of making movies, kind of. So, I just wanted to give her flowers because she's doing a fantastic job. And the chemistry between all three of them, between Teyonah Parris and Brie Larson and Iman Vellani, was excellent. I loved it.
So, it reminds me of like when you had the original Avengers. It was that kind of chemistry, but it took them how long to get that chemistry to really do it? Where it felt like, honestly, like they just had a ball doing this, and I love that feeling from it. That's why it was so much fun.
Right.
And
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and not to put a negative spin on it, but I do think it needs to be addressed. That's why it's disappointing to see kind of like the controversy, quote unquote, surrounding this, because here you have people who, one of them is an absolute nerd, as Mike pointed out, and they all just got together and wanted to make a great movie. And I think at some point we're going to have to start talking about how this anger over things changing in comics because certain people don't think that it should change, or certain people don't think that we should have certain kinds of representation and blah, blah, blah. It's going to kill it for all of us. Because right now, from what I understand, Brie Larson is getting pretty tired of it. And I think a lot of actors are eventually going to go, do I really want to do Marvel? Because it's such a long commitment. You have all these toxic fans coming at you. People get doxxed. People get like all kinds of, this BS behavior is going to kill it for all of us. People have grown up with Marvel Comics and have been saying for the longest time that they wanted them to do the movies right. And now you are getting everything you wanted, and it's still not good enough, and you're going to kill it for everyone, you know, because and I'm talking about the entitled fan base here, the people who, you know, don't want to see things like the Marvels, don't want to see Black women directors, don't want to see diversity or inclusion in any of these things. And for what? Like, it was a fun movie, and they work hard to give you what they're giving you. And that doesn't mean that every Marvel movie is above criticism, but this is not legit criticism. This is, I don't like seeing women on screen, or I don't like seeing people of color on screen. I don't fault anyone who has like a legit criticism of the movie, but it can't be that, you know? So I don't know, man. I want to keep watching them, so I need y'all to get it together.
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't give a fuck about those people. And yes, I did just use the word fuck on the show. That's twice. I'll find myself. Don't worry about it. I'm at the point where, yeah, for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm making a medium buck, so I can do it. Yeah. I don't even, I'm past the point where I even care about them, because I have to go, they're going to do what they do. I need to think about supporting it, talking about it, saying it's good, enjoying it. I need to do that because they're doing these movies and they're always, unfortunately, geek culture is so stagnant and just staying in one spot. We want all this. Oh, we got it. Oh, but I don't want it like that. So what you mean exactly like how it is in the comics? Well, yeah, but can we do it differently? And everybody's mad at everything. That's why I stay off of social media for the most part. But I saw a guy who was a writer and a comic book creator, and he was talking about the movie and he was like cheering it. And I was like, yeah, great. And then he, at the end, he was talking about like, oh, you know, Black woman director and everything. I'm like, yeah. And then he said, yeah, well, if you like this, then go read my comic. I was like, your comic is nothing like this movie. What in the hell? So he was like grifting just to do that. And I was like, this is what's happened. And we're getting all these naysayers. And I'm just like, if you didn't like the movie, that's cool. Everybody not like, but like you were saying, an actual, be constructive with your criticism, not just like, I don't like it because that's not the superhero that I want. Then don't watch it. You know you didn't like the superhero, so why'd you watch it in the first place? It doesn't make any sense. Everything is so backwards. So I have this conversation, but then I go, nobody wants to hear it. So I just go, cool. I'm going to keep talking about supporting it and just saying how incredible and fun it was. And when it comes on Disney Plus, I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to show my mother. Because I can't deal with them. I can't.
I agree with you. Like, we definitely should support it. I think my concern is if I were acting in Marvel movies and every 2 seconds someone was, you know, getting on me because I'm a woman or because, you know, just like arbitrary things, I would not want to make I would not want to make those movies anymore. And from what it sounds like, I can see the actors going in that direction. Like, it's not worth it to make a Marvel movie because it's such a long commitment and all you do is get, you know, shitted on by the fans. And, you know, and that's not true across the board. There are plenty of us who have some sense and don't act like that. But I'm just saying, just surrounding what happened with the Marvels and what happened with Captain Marvel when it first came out, surrounding Brie Larson, like people were mad because she wanted to do a press tour and wanted people of color to interview her, you know, and then I think that now has, you know, continued on with the Marvels. People were still mad about that initial thing. So that's my point. It's not really about catering to them. It's, I can see the actors getting tired of the bullshit, you know.
Oh no, I totally agree. So, and Larson is very outspoken to begin with. So this just makes it more outspoken because this is a huge thing. I don't blame him because they probably looked at the original, like that Infinity Saga, and was like, oh, it'll be like that.
Yeah.
Realizing that it was like that for them, but now because fans know more and there's more, and because there's a changing of the guard in essence.
Right.
And these new actors are like, oh, well, I didn't like her in this. So then don't watch that. This is a different project, a different movie, a different character.
Some of y'all need to just get off the internet and go learn how to write so you can write your own story so you can do exactly
Dear God,
what you
no,
want to
because
do.
no, because then they're gonna be like the all-time Kickstarter highs because they're I'm not even going to get into that with that one person. I'm
But,
not even.
I don't
Well,
even
it's
think that that's what it is, though. I think there is a segment of this fan base in Marvel that doesn't even understand the history of what Marvel has always been, right? Like,
absolutely.
Stanley often says that he wanted Marvel to be representative of the world outside your window, right? So, this idea that you have zealots, because that's exactly what it is. It's zealots that think, okay, well, Marvel shouldn't be woke, and Marvel, which you first of all, you're using the term woke wrong. That's number one,
Mhm.
and two, this idea that well, it should not represent multiculturalism or representation or anything is insane. Like that's what Marvel has always been. If you go back and look at the history, that's what it's been. So why is it that you think now in 2023, Trumpism, let's turn back
Mhm.
all the clock on everything and make it all simple and look just like us and nobody else is absurd. Like it's absurd.
Well, it depends
You know what
because
I mean?
when they say the world outside your window, what do they see when they look outside their window, though?
Yeah, but
That's always been
listen,
the one thing I've always had. I know what the spirit of that is, but then I
yeah.
go, well, yeah, Stanley Leibowitz, because I call him by what his mama called him. What are they seeing outside their window, and what are they choosing to see outside their window?
Yeah, but
What's in their neighborhood? But
choosing and what actually is happening are two different things.
yes, that's what they should realize. But they're choosing. Like there's certain things that they have to know. There's no way
Mhm.
that you can be that in the clouds, but they'll choose to. They're
Mhm.
choosing to be this ignorant. They're choosing to be this. I shouldn't say ignorant because ignorant is you just don't have the knowledge, and you once you get it,
Mhm.
they're choosing to be this dumb.
Mhm.
They're choosing to be this hateful.
Mhm.
Truthfully, to look at it and go, this isn't what it is. It's the same fans who love X-Men and who love Star Wars are usually the people who are so bigoted and don't understand it. And you're like, you realize, uh,
Mhm.
excuse me, not Star Wars, Star Trek. Put your chairs and your forks down, people. Please, to God, calm down. My
Mhm.
bad. My bad, y'all. But you see how Star Trek is, and it's like this on the surface because we we've seen the dark side of Star Trek. On the surface, it's this utopia. But you
Yeah.
have everybody getting together and working together, different planets and different peoples from all over the galaxy and universe. But then you'll say, but then those will be the same people who will watch that and cheer, but then will be mad about people of color, of people who are of different identities, whether it's a sexual identity, whether it's a racial identity, but people who they identify differently than getting roles or doing whatever, and they'll be mad about it. You do realize what you are, what you've been watching for
Mhm.
10, 20 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And X-Men, same thing. X-Men is like the biggest. I
Yes.
mean, it doesn't make any sense. You have the two sides, but it's we got a little deep into the weeds on this one, folks. But it's a serious
We
thing, and
did.
I would like to actually talk about this at another time where we could just completely lambaste all of you. But let's go into who did you think had the best 2023 as far as actors and directors, or even a character? Who do you think had the best one? I'm going to go with Takeia on this.
Oh man, because I was like, dang, this is a hard one.
Well, you know what? Then I'll go first.
Okay.
Mine is Monica Rambeau.
Okay.
Monica Rambeau not only had a limited series written by Eve L. Ewing, which I enjoyed so much. At
Mhm.
the end of the first issue, she's like, I need some space. And she goes and flies out into space because she's had a hell of a day, and I absolutely loved it. Then we get Monica in The Marvels, which, again, like I said, was such a fun movie and unreal. So to have that caliber of writer, and then to get her own limited series. And Auntie Monica's been around for that. She's been around so long, I can't even say the year. I gotta go. That's how long she's been around. And Tiana brought her to life in such an incredible way. And she was one of the most integral parts of WandaVision. Because a lot of us were watching WandaVision, obviously for Wanda and Vision, but also for Monica, because we wanted to see what was going to happen. This has been a character who has literally had one of the most traumatic events of you're sitting at your parents' bedside and you're blipped. And then you come back 5 years later, everything's going crazy, and you find out that they've passed while you were gone. Then to be brought back in another universe, and who you think is your mother is sitting there, and you're like, oh, thank you. And she's like, I don't know who you, and you find out it's a whole thing. So Monica Rambeau to me had the best year and the best comeback of anything. I think she's head and shoulders. She had a really great, and that's actually, you know what, I'm going to say between her and Blade. Blade has a phenomenally fun comic out right now, which is actually the newest issue just came out this past Wednesday. Where we actually are going to be getting a video game, which has been done by the same people who have done the Spider-Man games for Sony. A trailer dropped for that, and I was like, I watched it about 10 times because I'm a huge Blade fan. And we're going to be getting a movie, parentheses, question mark, eventually. But in the time we're not getting that movie, we're getting this blockbuster series from Brian E. Hill, and the artist name, she was on Black Widow. You put me onto her, Takeia Casagrande. I can't remember her last name though. The last name sticks with me because I mean, you know, Casagrande, you know what I mean? It hits my soul.
I'm blanking too.
But I want to say those are my two characters. Blade has a huge comeback this year. And also he has a daughter that we really didn't know about in Bloodline. So there we go. So I'm going to go back to Takeia.
So I guess I wanted to. I guess I'd kind of be piggybacking off of you, but I wanted to say I'm proud of where Teyonah Parris is going with her career, because I don't think, not that I had never seen her before, but like it seems like now it's one of those things where like people are really recognizing, because she was in Candyman. She did, of course, the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She did they call him Tyrone. And so like I kind of see her trajectory is like picking up speed. So I'm really happy to see that, because I really like her a lot.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. I still have to watch Chirac because I know she was in that. I think that's still on Amazon.
Oh, is it?
I think it was an Amazon original, maybe. I can't. No, it was in theaters, but I think it might still be on Amazon. I want to check that out.
Okay.
And how about you, Michael?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay basically in the same realm where I was talking about before, like how impressed I was with Barbie, right? So
You know why I'm laughing? Because at this point, I just want him to be like an ambassador for this movie. because he is the last person, it sounds like, whoever thought he would like this movie. And now he's like, Barbie, man. This is going to be the Barbie episode.
That tells me a lot, because if Michael is that high up on it, then I need to watch it this weekend, definitely.
Yeah. So Barbie's directed by a female director, obviously, named Greta Gerwig. And I've seen one other movie by Greta Gerwig before Barbie, and that was a movie years ago called Lady Bird.
I've heard that movie, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Lady Bird was good. But again, like Barbie's a whole different animal, where she literally mixes genres in this movie that, like, when you try to put them together in your head outside of the Barbie experience, you're like, there's no way any of these things would work just opposed to each other. There's just no way. Like, the movie should fall flat on its face, and it doesn't, right? And the way that she mixes genres is amazing. So, long story short, it becomes $1 billion movie, which very few women in general get a chance to even helm in the society. And I'm always kind of interested in seeing how that changes that person's professional life and what's the next big thing that she'll be offered after that. And from what I understand, she's being handed the keys to the The Witch and the Wardrobe series for Netflix.
Interesting.
So it's going to be really interesting to see what she does with that, because I've seen the other representations of Lion, the Witch and Wardrobe, including the cartoon years ago when I was a kid. I liked them. I'm really interested in seeing what she does with it.
I've never seen those movies, so I have to actually watch the other movies. I never saw them. It just never, at the time, it just wasn't there. I didn't see them, but I think they're on some. They got to be on some series. It's like there's like 97 streaming service. They got to be on. Tubi even some. I think
like at this point, I have a streaming service.
For real. So do I. It's called OnlyFans. So when you we can. I got an end of year special, y'all. I'm telling you, feet and everything, peanut butter. Look, for what I want to say, I think Lady Bird might be on Hulu. I know it's. I've seen it on something. It might be on Hulu.
Probably.
That might be it. Takeia, as far as comics, was there a comic that hit you this year?
So my favorite comic that hit me this year isn't even like traditional comic. It's on Webtoon, and it's called Dom and More. And it's a kind of a slice of life comic, but it's about two women who are together. One is a Black woman who is a graphic designer, I believe, and the other is I believe biracial, Korean and Chinese, and she's a model, and she also identifies as being asexual. So the coming together of those things kind of lets you see first of all, lets you see the lifestyle of somebody who may not be like you. But also it talks a lot. It's very funny. It's very sex positive, and it talks about mental health unexpectedly. I thought I was getting like just a straight up slice of life comic, and then they started getting into like some mental health things in certain episodes, and it's just really nuanced, really in depth, and it also I think tackles those subjects with a lot of grace and heart and respect and compassion. And it's also a great model for how to be in a relationship with someone who's going through, certain things, whether it be with their mental health, whether it be with their confidence, whether it be with, their body, things like that. Like, it kind of hit me unexpectedly because I just randomly just popped up on my Webtoon one day as like a suggestion. I was like, oh, I checked this out. And it ended up being one of my favorite comics that I've read all year. So it's by Nafisa Tung. And I think she goes by Dye Me Like a Sunset on Instagram. So I would recommend checking it out. I liked it a lot.
I'm gonna have to check that out because that sounds. I love all of that because that is a slice of life. That is the reality of life. Going through all that, and especially mental health. So that actually, and Dom and More.
Dom and More, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
So the main characters' names are Dominique and Morgan. So they just shortened.
Dom. Oh, yeah. I like that. Yeah. For me, I gotta say, comic that hit me the most was Sirens of the City. Boom Studios, originally started by Glass Eye Productions, or no, Glass Eye Studios, I want to say. This is co-created by Joanne Starr and Kari Randolph. and it's set in the 1980s in New York. So you're getting the whole aesthetic. You're getting Kyrie's just ridiculously brilliant art and all the things that he hides in there. I love it. It's a limited series of only 6 issues, but it gives you so much. It's basically the uncanny or the fair folk. It's the lichen, the werewolves, the vampires, sirens, succubi, all of those creatures, those denizens who are living in New York, as just regular people, but they can manifest. And it's also, but hidden in this dark urban fantasy story is the story of a young girl named Layla who is pregnant, and we open the story with her walking across the street to go to an abortion clinic because she wants to get an abortion. And this man is standing in her way, this tall white man, older man. It was such a metaphor that it was so on the nose that your finger was in your nose. And it was, and he's telling her, you can't get an abortion. And she says, why don't you go get hit by a bus or something like that? The man turns around, walks the street, and gets hit by a bus. Then we find out that she is a siren, that she has the ability to tell people what to do when her voice has a certain way. But then we find out that the succubi are men who have power over the women, and they can make women do what they want. And they've been doing this for centuries and centuries. And it turns out that she's pregnant by one of the succubi, but she didn't know and he didn't know. And there's this thing about the baby could kill her and him if it's born because of drain of life, what have you. But there's a very incredible and poignant scene and very hard hitting. If you grew up in the 80s, especially, there's a scene where she tries to abort the baby herself with a wire hanger. And it's so striking. It's in issue 3. It's so striking. I stared at it for a few minutes, and because I remember as a kid hearing those stories and it being in movies and things like that. And it's one of the most hard-hitting comics with action, adventure. You have the fantasy and everything, but there's that underlying story of that. And I think that's a very incredible and amazing story. Oh, actually, Creed, the next round. Only comic I can think of where we have a black young female lead who's deaf and a boxer. And carrying on Creed 3, phenomenal next installation to the story. 10 years later, incredible. Absolutely loved it. It was one I definitely pick up, and that one's 4 or 5 issues. Hope we get more out of that story in comic form because it was amazing. They even used sign language in the comic. You'll see word bubbles come from the hands. That means that they're signing, and they're using African American sign language, where if they're speaking, it comes from the mouth. Those 2 were comics that were so in depth and on point and hitting. Absolutely recommend them, truthfully. All right, so we've talked about
Antonio. Yes. May I say something real quick?
Yes.
When I was talking about Nafisa Tongue, I realized I said she. Nafisa goes by they, them pronouns, I believe. So I just wanted to correct that.
Okay.
Apologize. But definitely check them out on their Instagram.
I want to check out that Webtoons comic because I'm not.
Yeah.
I always forget I have Webtoons, but then when someone says there's a great comic, I want to go and I'm like, okay, but then I still forget because Webtoons is like in the corner, and I always forget about it. It's the same thing with Apple TV. I kept forgetting I had it. Just so much out there. I can't focus. But what I can always focus on is food. So I posed this question to y'all before the show, and I know it was a hard question. What was the best thing you've had to eat all year?
Oh man.
Boom, pop, bit. What you got?
I got one, maybe 2, but one for sure.
Okay.
So my husband has a friend who he's been working with for years, who I found out maybe just a few years ago makes probably the best sweet potato pie I've ever had. And that's saying a lot because I've had a lot of good sweet potato pie, but he made my husband sent me a picture because he makes every year he makes a bunch of them for people, and I was like, oh, is that all for us? And he was like, no.
All right.
But so he gave us 2 sweet potato pies this year, and oh my goodness, it's so good. So shout out to Kevin for his sweet potato pie.
And I know they both going. Michael,
what
about you?
If you have the time, please make it over to Timeout Market in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Go to Bark Barbecue.
Bart Barbecue. All right.
2 words for you. Dominican barbecue.
Man,
That's
shut
all.
up.
Ooh.
That's all I gotta say.
Michael knows what Michael know how to get me, brother. You know how to get me.
Amazing food, especially the brisket. The brisket there is life changing, brother. Life changing.
And you said Bart's Barbecue?
Bark's Bark. Bark, BARK.
Oh, Bark. Okay.
Yeah. You don't even need. They give you sauce for the brisket. You don't need it at all. That's how good it is.
Oh man. And where did you say it was? Where in Brooklyn?
It's in Time Out Market in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It's not sure where to stop. It's on the F train though.
55 Water Street in Brooklyn. Fifth floor. Fifth floor. Just like bro, man.
Yes. There are plenty of restaurants inside of Time Out Market, so it's not just Bark Barbecue, but Bark Barbecue is among the best in there.
Dominican flavors cooked with Texas barbecue techniques. Man, shut your mouth. You already had me a hello.
Yes, bro.
All right, so I feel like we could go more. I might ask y'all to do some more. But not right now. Not right now. But yeah, the talk got deep because definitely there's a lot of issues going on. But the bottom line is an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours isn't enough because there's so much in this year that was great. And like I said, it is golden age between the movies with MCU and Marvel. We got Yu Yu Hakusho came out on Netflix live action. CM Punk is back in the WWE after he got fired from AEW. He going for the title, baby. Sweet Daddy is going for the title. I see a Starcade, baby. I see a Starcade. Ric Flair, I see a Starcade, baby. Big Dust going for the belt, baby. That's why Andre. That's a shoot, baby. We've got there's a new God of War Ragnarok game that I believe came out the other day. Blade is going to be getting a video game. Yep. There's so much going on in every single area that it's incredible. So folks, look, take our recommendations, but go out and find some other things. Go tip your waitress or your server, your waiter after you've eaten. Go out, check out a bookstore, check out the movies, what have you. Okay? Go support, do what you can, because there's a lot out there and there's no way that everyone can cover it, but I'm doing my best. Folks, I'm only one man. I've only got 2 hands, despite what I said earlier about having 10 hands. That was a lie. It was a flub. I messed up. It happens, whatever. But I want you to keep trying. Yes. So I want to thank Michael Williams, Cinema CEO, Cinema God. There you go. You got 3 of them. You happy? Thank you. And also,
thanks for having me.
Always, brother, because we go way back like shoe leather. I don't know what that means. That don't even make sense. For Takeia Marie, as always, thank you so very much for being here as well. Folks, we'll have more. There's always going to be more. Keep turning those pages. Have a great night. Happy New Year to you. There's a lot more coming up. I think I'm going to do my own review show of stuff as well that probably won't even make any sense. I'm probably just going to be drunk when I do it. Truthfully, it'll just be way easier to do. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest or day, whatever time it is. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Later, people.